We're talking about real prepping. Yes, some people say, do you actually live where you live and do what you do? Yes, I am remote, as you can tell. I'm on my property right now. And to me, I'm slowly beginning to realize why it's so important to be as self-sufficient as we possibly can. Now, I have had it up to here with spending my hard-earned money on firewood, which is not dry. Okay, now some of you guys may or may not know this, but if you have a wood burner or a back boiler stove, which I have, it's powered by wood and coal and things like this, and it's so important that your firewood is dry enough to burn. I've been testing some of the wood that I've been buying, and typically it's around 28 to 43% moisture content, which if you have a wood burner and stuff like this, you will know how important it is to get that firewood sub 20% humidity. Okay, you need to get as much water out of your firewood as you possibly can. But what I think I'm going to do is a series of videos about this sort of thing. Today we're going to be talking about how I procure my firewood and the whole process from getting it to actually getting it ready to dry. Now, there's a few hints and tips and tricks which I'm going to share with you. Incidentally, before I get too far into this video, there's one guy who I really want to thank. His name is Vincent, and he's got his own YouTube channel and he's got a book. I've watched all of his videos multiple times now, and I've got his book, which we're going to show with you briefly in a sec. And there's going to be links to all of Vincent's YouTube channel and indeed his book on Amazon underneath this video. So if you want to have a look, by all means, go for it. Now, Vincent, thanks so much for opening my eyes to what's really important about firewood. Now we're going to go through some of the kit which I've got and how I do it. Okay, like all of my videos, it is important to go over safety. We've got some really good safety specs. These happen to be prescription, so they're tailored for my eyes. We have some gloves. Yes, they're not chainsaw gloves, but they will do for now. How I go and get my wood is one of them, which you guys have known, is this Silky Big Boy, which I've been using for over 10 years now, and I really look after it, hence it looks pretty much brand new. But that is awesome. Moving along, what I have found recently, I took a punt. A friend of mine said, why don't you use one of those micro chainsaws? Now I had a really good look around online, and because of the reviews were so good and for the price, I ended up getting this one here. And incidentally, there's a link on Amazon where I got this from. And yes, I did buy this out of my own money, and no, I'm not being paid by this company. But after using this a lot, I can highly recommend this. And someone told me recently that there's currently a sale on, so it's a good time to buy something like this. We'll go over that in a bit more detail in a bit. We've got the Husqvarna 136, which, I'm being honest, I'm too scared to use. Once I've got my confidence using this one, and I'm learning how it works, so I've undone it all, I've done some modifications on the switch, etc. And I'm totally aware of how chainsaws work. So for me, it's been quite helpful understanding how this bad boy is going to work. I'm not going to use this until I get it serviced and I've got enough money to get all of the proper protective boots, trousers, bibs, helmet, gloves, etc. Okay, once I've got that, I'm going to be giving this a go. Once I've got my firewood from when I'm out and about on my travels, using this and this, I then take it home and then I use this. Now, I got this a few months back for 80 quid. It's a bargain. It's a Makita chop saw, and it pretty much does just what I need for my little stove. A recent acquisition to my arsenal is this. Now, again, this was brought on loads of research, loads of reviews online, and for the price, so this is under £250, it's a 4-ton log splitter. And you can get these from Screwfix, places like that. I'll try and find a link below if you want to have a look at these. Unfortunately, I can't find this on Amazon. So if you guys want something like this delivered to your house, I'm not really sure how you do it. I had to go and click and collect this from a local Screwfix. And luckily for me, it was the last one that they had. It took a bit of a while to get it assembled, but to be fair, I only put this plate on. I didn't see the point in all of the cage and all of that health and safety nonsense. As long as you're sensible and you're careful with safety, I feel you don't need all of that. Personally, I think it gets in the way and it's a bit over the top. The beauty of this thing is you can literally pick it up with the handle and wheel it anywhere you want. It is heavy, it's around 50 kilos, okay, so it's a lot of weight, but you need that for the power. And when you start seeing this in action, you'll understand how much time and effort you're going to save rather than using an axe. Now, I haven't got an axe yet. I have got one linked underneath the video on my Amazon page where I'm thinking of getting one. But for now, I'm up against the clock and I have a shoulder injury. So for me, this is absolutely paying dividends immediately. It's a fantastic bit of kit and we're going to get to that in a bit. Okay, so we're going to have a little walk around first. These are the pieces which I cut, like I say, with either the Silky and or my little new chainsaw there. You go out and about and there's been loads of storms here in Wales, so I've been finding small logs, okay? I'm not really interested in great big things like that because it's just too much for me. And at this moment in time, I'm finding this very quick, very simple and easy to do. And of course, the smaller, the faster it dries. Now, a good friend of mine, Steve, if you're watching, he made me this really cool sawhorse. And all we do is we just put them on there and we just chop up. Now, I can either use the chainsaw or the chop saw for this. I've been a little bit busy and I've got a big stack there underneath these dumpy bag covers. We had some rain yesterday, so to me it made sense just throwing those over. So there we have it. There's me being a little bit busy with what's been going on with the storm. So that's the sort of process. We start with the long pieces, we cut them down to small pieces, we pile them up there, and once that's pretty much enough, it's over to the log splitter, which is just over there. Incidentally, here's a really cool tip which I learned from Vincent off his YouTube channel, is if you get birch, silver birch, like this. Now, we all know when we do survival and bushcraft, etc., that this is excellent for starting fires with the bark, okay? But what was pointed out by Vincent, and it really makes sense, you know, the coating, the bark on these species of trees are highly resinous, therefore waterproof, okay? So it takes a long time to dry the inside. But a good hack is to run your chainsaw along there, and I've done this all the way around. So when you do this, it takes less time to actually dry. I've decided to run the chainsaw along there 4 times just to get air to it, okay? Now, it's a really good tip actually, because if you don't do that, you could face the danger of the wood spalting, okay? Now, spalted birch, have a look online, look at images and you'll see what I mean. Some of you may remember when I had my friend Sandy of Jacklaw Knife make me a Jacklaw knife, and I supplied him with spalted birch. The handles looked amazing. He had to stabilize it because it wasn't strong. So that is the risk. If you don't do things like this, you could face that over time. If there's enough moisture getting it, it will spalt. Therefore, it will be more like this, more like punkwood, okay? It's very, very lightweight. It will burn really fast and it's not very good, okay? So you can tell there's varying degrees of dryness. Now, when you see splits on the end of logs, it doesn't mean that it's dry all the way through. Just say for this little piece here, okay, it will probably be dry about 1 inch on the end, but inside will be water, moisture, okay? Don't forget, treat these as drinking straws. They will suck up the moisture from the ground through the roots, from the rainfall, and you can tell by the weight, the lighter they get, the more drier it's going to be, okay? So that's a good indicator that we are seeing split ends, okay? But be under no illusion, it's not dry enough. Hence, that's why it's so important to split all this firewood. one of the most important things we need to do, which I think some people get wrong when they use these, is you plugged it in, it all works. You have to undo this because it's hydraulics. If you listen, you open it a few turns, okay? If you fail to do that, it will knacker up the hydraulic system, all right? This is a 2-part safety feature. You have to pull a lever down and hold the button at the same time. I know some people have done videos where you can work around it, etc. Maybe I'll get onto that at some point, but for now, I'm just going to stick with the safety feature and look forward to getting some log split. Another little tip, which I learned a while ago, is to get yourself a block of wood. Once you put that on there, it's going to take up the space because this just pushes the wood onto this wedge, which splits it. So you can use this or you cannot. To me, it just saves a bit of time and it's a lot more efficient that way. So let's get her fired up. Wow, look at that, would you believe it? The sun's come out. So yeah, as you can appreciate, this I find really satisfying. Just to sit there, take your time and let the machine do all the work. Now, I'm coming to learn that these sort of size pieces, if you can look at my hand, that's the sort of sizes which I'm going to be splitting my wood. Now, if you'd have asked me, would I have done that a year, 2, 3 years ago? I would have said, no way. The bigger the logs, the better. But the secret is, the smaller they are, the faster they take to dry. Look at the difference. I can easily just split that one again in half. And I've noticed on my journey through understanding how firewood actually works, and I watched lots of American videos. There wasn't many UK ones, which is a bit sad really. So hopefully this video will go out there and encourage people to do it themselves rather than to spend a fortune. And it does cost a lot of money. Firewood, you can get a 1-ton bag now. I've seen prices go for £100 for one bag of firewood, and I can guarantee you it probably won't be dry enough to burn efficiently, i.e. it may be over 20%. So I noticed lots of Americans were splitting their wood quite thin and long, and I thought that's just ridiculous, it's going to burn really fast, it's no good. But the beauty of it is it will take no time at all to dry. Now, if you want some more information about certain species and formulas of how long wood takes to dry, I think we've been sold a bit of a lie. And Vincent goes into a bit of this in a video he done about how to dry firewood. Now, there is like a myth that it takes 1 square inch per year. So I would say that, by that rule, is going to take 2 years to dry. Nonsense, okay? Now, we're going to be doing other videos of how I'm going to be drying my wood. Once it's dried, then it can be stacked out of the elements so it can be used this coming winter. So be under no illusion, the smaller the logs, the faster they will dry and the more efficiently they will burn. So to me, it's a win-win. You know, the times that I used to get these great big logs, they were huge. And if I was to put my moisture meter on there and it would say something like 32%, wow. And again, Vincent's done a really good video about the ethics behind, I forget the term. You know, sometimes when you make videos and it just flies away. It's about physics, and Vincent knows what I mean. It explains how much water and moisture is inside these logs, okay? And another rule of thumb, which I've done on survival courses when I used to teach it as an instructor, and indeed some of my earlier videos, when I'm out in the wilds and I'm doing campfires or whatever the fire's needed for, a good rule of thumb is to tap the wood against each other. If it's a high-pitched ping noise, that's a good indicator that you're on the way to getting dry wood. If it's a dull thud, it means there's a lot of moisture in there, okay? And it's not going to burn as hot as long as it should. It's going to spend most of its time boiling away the water stroke sap inside the firewood, okay? Another thing I've been doing for years is battening wood with a knife to split it because it burns better, okay? So all of the dry stuff is going to be in the middle, okay? And all of the wet stuff is going to be around the edge where the bark is, because the bark, believe it or not, has got the most moisture, okay? So as time goes on, the bark will more likely separate from this, which is a good indicator that that log is drying very, very nicely. So stay tuned for more videos where we talk about the rights and the wrongs about firewood. I've just done a brief video of how I am preparing the firewood in my own way, mainly because of shoulder injuries, time, money and space, okay? If you've got the money and you've got the space and you've got no injuries, great. You've got access to chainsaws, really good quality splitting axes, all of that sort of thing. But for me, this works great, okay? So I'm using a back boiler. It's different than an open stove or a wood burning stove, okay? It's not just for aesthetics, it's actually keeping the house warm. I know some people will have an oil or gas to heat their home and they just have a pretty little fire to make it look nice. That's great, there's nothing wrong with that. But for my situation, if I don't have a fire, I don't have heating. It's as simple as that. So to me, it's a no-brainer to finally embark on this journey to create my own firewood rather than handing my money over to some people selling you wet firewood, which is no good. Take it from me, I've struggled through winters, it's not good, okay? Your stove is going to be 200 Fahrenheit, it's flat with firewood, and you can hear it hissing. And you can see water at the end of the logs just bubbling away. That's no good, we do not want that. So like I say, stay tuned for more videos. There's links below to some of the items that I've used, that I've brought from Amazon, etc. And I'm not joking, that chainsaw is really good. And here it is. It's very small, as you can tell. And because I've got an engineering electronics background, this switch here, I've taken it apart and I've bypassed an item within the switch where I don't need to press that. All I need to do is press the trigger. And that's it. Okay, with these, you get 2 batteries and you get 2 chains, you get a fixing kit to tighten it all up. Literally, I've taken this thing totally apart so I can learn and understand how it works. One of the fears from bigger chainsaws was kickback, okay? Now, kickbacks, when you look at the end of the bar, it's this top corner here. That top corner. If you get that top corner near any wood, it will kick back. Anywhere else on there, it's going to be fine. Now, there's lots of rights and wrongs and do's and don'ts about chainsaw use. And yes, I know this is a very small scale, but what makes this really unique is this can go in your kit. You can go to camp, you can build a shelter, an emergency firewood so fast. And of course, you know, the more different ways you can use a tool, the better. So as a self-defense, I don't need to say any more, okay? So for me, this is a great bit of kit. It's around 50 quid, right? And I've absolutely used this a ton. You can probably tell by the state of it. I've really used this a lot. I just don't think it's fair to get a brand new bit of kit and then to say, oh, it's brilliant without even using it. To me, that's lying, it's bullshit, it's not right. But yes, I've absolutely used this a lot. And on 2 batteries, fully charged. I filled up the entire boot of a Shogun. Yeah, I didn't believe it until I saw it, but it works, okay? Now I've got that great big pile over there. I just need to spend time splitting it all, which is what I'm gonna do. So like I say, I'm gonna put the link to Vincent's YouTube channel and his book and bits of kit like this, because apparently someone told me who brought 2 recently, said they've got a sale on. So I'm not really sure. I bought it out of my own money and they're not paying me, but let me tell you this thing works. And I really do think it's going to be a game changer, especially for preppers, okay? Because like I said, I'm quite scared of that chainsaw. And I know some people would say, oh, don't be silly, but just go and have a look how many chainsaw accidents on YouTube, right? Just type it in and watch, you'll be horrified. And I know people, I'm not going to mention any names, they've been cutting firewood with chainsaws without any eye protection, ear protection, Crocs, shorts. I'm not joking, it's absolutely an accident waiting to happen. All you need to do is misplace your footing, misjudge something, the tension of the wood that will come through, it gets jammed, and all the rest of it is very dangerous. So I think it's important for me to learn how chainsaws work, have experience of them. Once I feel confident, then I can hopefully get some money or some sponsorship or whatever it is to get the correct clothing, then I'm going to be embarking on my journey with the bigger chainsaw. But for now, that thing is awesome. The log splitter is amazing. And so far, it's so good. So you guys take care. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching and stay